Welcome back. This is still the Polity, reaching you live from Abuja. I've been joined in the studio now by a colleague, co-journalist, Mr. Samuele Ogunleke. He's also known as Dokita Olamide. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Good afternoon.
It's good to have you.
Good afternoon to the world.
It's good to have you.
Nice to have you too.
All right. So let's go straight into it. A lot happened between yesterday and over the week, but particularly there seems to be what a lot of people are seeing as great news with promises and plans being made by the government. Particularly, there was a declaration by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, where he said about $10 billion inflows in the nearest term is expected, which would help clear foreign exchange backlog and stabilize the naira. I'd like to get your thoughts from this and the whole hula baloo about trying to protect the naira or leaving it to float and fight for itself, so to speak. But what do you make of the whole process?
Well, I actually want to congratulate this administration so far for every of their policies they have made so far, and at the same time I want to believe that they are trying economically, because if you see what happened in the last 8 years as an economist, you know very sure that things have gone so way wrong, especially during the time of 2015 and 2018. There was no reason for us to actually devalue our naira when we are not a producing state. That is just it. There's no reason for us to devalue our naira when we are not a producing state. And there is no reason for us to be actually paying a lot of money just to defend our naira. But the fact is, maybe because of some wrong advices and all those ones for the past administration, the last administration before this, I think that was what really led to this hula-baloo of naira being defending itself, and we need to try ourselves. We need to do try and error so that we'll be able to get ourselves onto the track. But the fact is, presently, when you check what is going on, people don't understand what floating is all about. And at the same time, why do we need to actually float naira? And at the same time, why do we really need to leave naira to operate itself using the voice of demand and supply, using the market structure, using the economic standard? So, but to a layman, this administration has done worst so far, just because naira is actually depreciating when it comes to international markets. But I want to let us know that with this policy, the only thing is just that they actually brought a policy that they didn't have planned for. They ought to have planned this before some things before floating.
About this administration.
This administration.
Okay.
Before bringing this policy, the policy is actually good, and it is what will actually help Nigeria. Let me actually digress a bit back to removal of subsidy. So removing subsidy was the first step we need to, but we didn't plan well before we remove the subsidy, because if you are not a producing state, as far as oil is concerned, you are not refining, and you are removing the subsidy. We have a lot of countries that actually do that, that pay subsidy, that subsidize some of their things in markets. But the fact still remains that as far as Nigeria is concerned, we don't need this kind of subsidy. And I told people then, that you don't remove a particular subsidy. A same person don't remove a subsidy in expecting another subsidy. First subsidy was done because we want to alleviate poverty. We want to make sure that people get this, and that was why we're doing it, so that markets will be able to have a market that a common man can go and afford. So from there, then we now have issue of, okay, since we are subsidizing, why do we need to be producing again? That was how they actually bastardized our refinery, our oil sector. But now, before we actually remove subsidy, we're supposed to have put in place our refinery, which they're actually doing according to them, because we had past administration that said they were. Now, also, before floating of Naira, we ought to have stabilized our economy to an extent, so that we believe that the voice of demand and supply will have us having a balance of payment.
But
BOP.
Sorry to cut in there. You know, you've laid the groundwork that there were things that needed to be put in place first. Now that we've sort of jumped into it, is the solution now to reverse, or is it to start beginning to put those things that we sort of didn't put in place?
The solution is just to start putting all those things in place. That's why I
will
say
it work? It's done after.
It will actually work. It will work. Just that it will not. It will not work as it ought to have worked if we had planned and we had put those things in place. You know, it will work better if we had put them in place. But now, before it will work better, we need to suffer for a period of time. We wouldn't have suffered this much, because all we need to do is just to make sure that, okay, fine, within 2 months, we are going to come over this thing because of this so thing that we have put in place. But now we are just putting them in place. Fine. One of the process, you know, like Wale Edun said, that we are expecting this. It is in ignominies. You assume. It is an assumption based on particular theory that, okay, if our Naira could be floated, and at the same time we can have production that will match the standard of the international market, and at the same time we can actually exchange. As we are buying from outside, then we are selling also. That means exports from our hand is actually jacking up compared to what we were, the situation that we had before, and now that our importation is being reduced to an extent. And that was why former President Muhammadu Buhari closed border. You closed the border on what you've not been producing. That was like that thing actually affected. But on this case now, we have them promising us that, okay, this is going to be done, this is going to be, and there is a particular policy that they actually brought into this administration, which I actually like. Wale Edun. Wale Edun is a very good economist and a business oriented person, which will actually not want to jump into a particular situation without a prior, or let me say, without a knowledge that is that will actually make him to stand by whatsoever he said. So with this proposition, I think for me, we are going to get there, but I don't think this one that he said, we could actually be expecting something like $3 to $4 million, but $1 billion. But this 10 billion is just to actually float us to, so that we'll be able to have a rest of mind there. Because I've actually calculated, same thing is calculating, is what we are calculating. Same thing is reading is what we are reading. Same market structure, same forex, same thing that you are reading is what we are reading. So you are not reading anything differently. So with what is on ground, I think we shouldn't be expecting more than 4, 5, at most 5 billion.
All right. You know, while all this is happening, still maybe we would find more explainers for the average Nigerian out there. But that being said, you made mention of something that you know, I'd like to get your thoughts on. That we'll have to suffer a little, or to suffer to an extent. What would you say about the level of suffering in terms of it being spread across board? Do you think the people in power are feeling any of the impact of what the average Nigerian is going through? How do you think it should be?
That is where we have problem in this country. Because what we speak is not what we do. And what we say should be our action. Our action should speak, not we speaking our action. we want to cut down expenses. So we are cutting down the expenses, and at the same time, governments that want to cut down expenses, that want people to endure, are not enduring. So that is where we have issue, because with what is going on now, National Assembly's request having a budget of all these millions of dollars, nairas, vehicles and all of that. So you can't expect somebody like me to believe you that you are working for me when you said you are working for me, I'm suffering, and you that are working for me is actually benefiting and enjoying it. So this thing is not actually affecting our politicians. That's where we have issues. So instead of them to endure with us, with Nigerians, common Nigerians, with African Nigerians, they are just lavishing whatsoever the resources Nigeria is producing now. Because now, I don't expect President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration to borrow. I don't expect, because he is a business that, so I don't expect him to actually borrow. But now, that is where the issue is. What you don't expect from a particular person and you are now getting it, then there is a problem. So for me, having the conviction that Nigeria is going to be good, it's based on theory, based on policy. But what about actions? And actions, they say, speaks louder than voice. So these actions are against what we are preaching. If your action is against what you are preaching, then you have not said anything. Like what happened this a statement by a particular governor this morning, yesterday, that's Adeleke, that said, okay, in my administration, anybody that is holding office, public office, will not be going to abroad for medical treatment, but on emergency. You have just concluded in saying nothing. On emergency. So if there is, okay, if I want to go now, will I tell you it's not emergency? So he had actually concluded on saying something, on saying nothing. So what Nigerian government is actually doing presently, especially the politicians, have shown, it has shown that they are enjoying why they are suffering the masses. Though we have the hope that this sufferness will not go beyond beyond this level. But with what is happening now, if we continue like this, I think we're just playing for now. We're just playing, because with what we are seeing policies, but we are not seeing actions. And policies cannot actually manufacture anything until action is being taken. You backed your policies with action. That is what is operating over there. I've not been there, but I've seen a lot of, like this Kemi Badenoch that contested for prime minister. That was a time last 3 months, I think that was June, that she proposed a particular thing. She needs to go so far. She went to that state. She discussed with them, okay, this is what we need. She put things in place. But our own managers here, which happens to be our government, will stay in Aso Rock expecting miracle in economy. It doesn't work like that. You don't just talk without action. So for now, they are not even feeling it, because they can actually afford it. Even if dollar is 1 million naira, 1 naira to about $1 to 1 million naira, they can afford it because they will be trading in dollar. They have been trading in dollar. You will have seen that everything that has to do with government, they pronounce it in dollar. But if it has to do with masses, it will be pronounced in naira. Yeah. So that masses will be like, wow, this huge amount of money. But if it is theirs, they pronounce it. Why should we be using dollar while our naira is here? Why should a particular government, our own government, who invented naira, be talking about his budget in dollar? Are you getting? That means what they are doing, they are actually transacting in dollar, leaving Nigerian masses to transact in naira. That has been devalued a lot of times. Now this issue did not start today. It has been since 1986, when they devalued naira for like I think for like 38 times just in a year. For what? So almost every week they were actually doing that. They were doing that just because they know very well they can afford it. So for now, I still believe that we can go back on track with these policies. We can go back on track, and we are still going to make it as Nigerians and as a Nigeria.
Well, that's fair enough. Particularly what struck me, what you said, is how other politicians and other climes, move to the people, get feedback, and then work. Which bears in mind, a lot of what we see here in Abuja, when you go for a lot of reports, air-conditioned rooms, hotels and such, but usually the issues being discussed are very grave issues. So you could see an event tagged, protecting internally displaced persons. Such you should assume that such an event should take place in Borno, and the areas where people are affected, or one of these camps where you go there and you meet them, but everybody dresses up in fine suits and
that's where we have problems. That's where we have problems.
So but again, this is why we apply some level of accountability to the government and try to hold them to their words. But that being said, there's something looming now. Before we move over to some other issues, we have workers across the 36 states and the national assemblies say that they've concluded arrangements to lock up their prospective workplaces till their demands for financial autonomy is granted. And they've said that this will happen or begin tomorrow, Wednesday, 25th of October. What do you make of this? A similar issue happened in around 2021 or so. That was with the judicial workers, and for quite a while things were locked down. And again, this issue of financial autonomy is rearing its head. What do you think really the executive needs to finally allow these other branches of government to be on their own without any sort of oversight on them?
The issue we are having is, executives have seen themselves as lord over legislative and other arms. Are you getting it? And that being said, financial autonomy for legislative workers has been in 1999 Constitution. So, if since then they have not inculcated that, that means something is wrong somewhere. That means the leaders of these associations also, because they have association, they have their union rather. The leaders of this union also are actually doing something. They are actually getting something in return from executive. That's just the fact, whether we like it or not. But that being said, I know one thing, that if you are not enjoying something, then, and that thing is affecting you, you should be able to reject such thing with immediate effect. If you actually look into what is happening now, I'm looking inwardly as a Nigerian. Are you getting it? Not as a normal human being now, because if you have to reason if you are a Nigerian, you have to reason in 3 dimensions. You reason as a human being, you reason as a Nigerian, then you reason as a Nigerian person that understands Nigerian politics. Are you getting it? So if you are not reasoning in that 3 angles, 3 dimensions, then that means you've not even know where you are being born into. Now, reasoning as a Nigerian, you will know very sure that legislative workers has been on this over the years. They will just come. They said this same thing 2016. They will just come after their 2 or 3 days strike. Then they will just come and tell us that they've resolved it. They will continue. Later they will come. What do you think is happening? When they called for strike, they go on strike, they'll be settled, then they forget about their pain.
So you're saying that there could be a compromise?
Yes, that's just it. So they forget their pain. The only thing that will resolve, that will make your pain to go finally, totally, is for you to actually cure the source of that pain. But union leaders, I'm not talking about legislative arms alone. Union leaders, talk about local governments, talk about leaders now want to be relieved. Immediately they are relieved, then they forget about their pain. When the pain comes back, they start agitation again. So with this, I know very sure if government, the executive arm rather, if the executives actually say, okay, fine, come, let's dialogue, they'll still go on dialogue. After that, something will be chipping, then they'll forget about it. That is not the work of the workers. It is just the work of those that are leading them. And that is why I used to say that the thieves, the armed robbers, waiting to take position of thieves are 1,000 times the thieves that the armed robbers are complaining of.
Wow, that's quite a mouthful. But let me get this right. Do you believe it's possible for these leaders to, make some underhanded dealings without their members being in one way or another carried along? I say this because if someone is your leader and they say, come, let's go strike, and you follow them, and then the leader goes into a room, comes out, let's not strike anymore, don't you think there's also some level of cooperation? Otherwise, the leader wouldn't be able to call these people again, that they should come out.
Let me cite this example of NLC.
All right.
What was the result of the result NLC gave their members? What was the outcome of their meeting with the federal government that they reported to their members?
So why do they keep obeying? Why do they keep coming out for them?
It is just because I have said it. Most of these union leaders, we have older people, yes. But when you check the percentage also, we still have 40-60. Let's say 60 older people, old age, then we have 40% of youths. So, but the youths that are armed robbers, waiting for the thieves that are hosts to get out, so that they can actually take position and rob and actually pack everything, are so many compared to what people are seeing. Now, if you check it very well, you see that NLC in particular, we're actually talking about negligible arm, but NLC in particular wanted something, but they are just gallivanting, trying to mesmerizing on other points, so that they will be pitied by the common by the masses and will be supported against the federal government. What they really want, they know very sure that this is what we want. If we go straight on this, then masses that we have learned ones. I mean, said that sir, ma, you cannot get this now in this kind of situation. But they too need to play politics. So it is the politics that has entered into the unionism that made all this. That is actually making all these things to be happening. Hadn't been politics had not entered into unionism, then we will have activists, real ones rather, that will fight and they will get what they are fighting for. But in this case now, even the leaders, now the only thing is, if they sign agreement, we see agreement, but what they discussed is actually not really what they signed in the agreement. We had agreements in the year 2012, agreement in 2015, agreement in 2017 years, the same agreement in 2019. Even if you are the one, you could have known that something is wrong somewhere.
But just a moment, I'd like to get your own perspective on the response, because what you are saying now is not like it's just your thoughts. There are a lot of Nigerians who believe what you are saying, who believe that there's some funny business going on. But I've spoken to a lot of unionists, and they usually say, when I ask, you've gone through this rodeo before. You've said we are going on strike. You call off strike. You go. What is happening in between? And some of them have explained that they seem to feel that the government is, to an extent, dishonest with negotiations. So they say the government promises, we will do it. We are assuring you we will do it. Just come back and work. And they say they are considering the state of the nation and all that. Okay. Using ASU as an example. Okay. If the ASU should decide that we are not coming back until the government completely, completes everything on our list of demands, then some of those things on that list actually need at least a couple of years to achieve in terms of infrastructure, funding, and all of that. So would you say that in this case, the unions should not, be understanding as the government wants them to be, and just,
I'm not saying unions should not be understanding, but the fact is there's difference between unionism and politics.
Okay.
Are you getting it? Politicizing unionism is what I against, and that is what is actually happening in terms of this as regards this autonomy. Why would something be written in a constitution? The leaders saw it, every one of us are seeing it written boldly, and a particular arm of government will still be sitting on it, and you tell me you want to understand. Understand what? What are you understanding? It's written there. This thing is not something that you want to spend on. It is what has been written. You are giving us that money. Are you getting it? It's not that you are not giving us the money. All we want is, don't give us. Don't be giving us batch by batch. Give us our own autonomy, so that as you are sharing the budget, our own is being given to us, then you supervise, which is your role. You supervise. So, but in a case whereby I am supposed to give you your salary at the end of the month, are you getting me? I am not giving, I supposed to give that salary. I did not give you that salary, but every week, a salary that I'm supposed to give you in a month, I'm not giving, maybe 60,000. I'm not giving you 2,000 naira every week. In 4 weeks, that's what? That's just 8,000 naira. I'm still having 52,000 naira with me. So if I have that financial autonomy, you don't have any excuse to do what? To send my money. But so far, I'm still under you. You can actually find an excuse that, we'll spend money on this, which is not supposed to be. So why should I understand you when you don't understand me? You understanding me is, I'm not working. I've not been working for you. And you understand the fact that, don't worry, since you have not been working, don't worry, I understand that. But I will work. Then when it's time for you to pay, you now want me to understand reason for you not being paid, for me not being paid. No, now it doesn't work. But in this case, in that case of MLC and ASU that we are talking about, if government had actually said, okay, we are going to do, you've given them ultimatum. Okay, you know ultimatum, but you can actually give. You're not very sure if you are talking about infrastructure. You cannot expect them to build that infrastructure within 21 days. But you can expect them to drop half of the expenditure into ASU's account or into university account, so that the contractors will have been paid. If contractors have been paid half of their contract agreement, you don't expect them to stop working.
So basically, they should do it with all of their, they should do it to the fullest, not half.
Not that. Okay, fine. If you are expecting 500 million naira, if I'm expecting 500 million naira, and I said I'm not going to work, and you are say, okay, fine, I'll give you 50 million, and I go into work. Out of 500 million, who does that? Okay, if you are actually giving me half now, I know by the time I will say I'm going for strike in another time, you actually give me another 300, and that will have been reduced to a billion. So nobody will actually have, even if I want to go on strike again, we'll have a lot of masses that say, these people have tried now, they've given you this, they've given you that. So what is happening in unionism now is just like the fact that government, people that are even in union now, are being selected by government. That's where I'm actually coming from. I'm not saying that they are not working, but there's no way I will select you. You will be my candidate, and you want to fight for the right of other persons. It's not possible. You are fighting with somebody that puts you in position. That is where the issue is. So on the issue of legislative autonomy, workers' autonomy, I believe that what's the best situation now is for both of them to agree, and in a couple of months, like let's say 2 months before the year runs out, then the bill will be signed. Should in case they still want to put up another bill, which is not necessary because it has been written in the constitution, then they should be given their autonomy. If they are not giving you your autonomy, then don't come back. The autonomy is not in an infrastructure. It's not something that government will say want to spend on. They are not spending on it. It is their right. It is there. It has been in the budget. All
So
these things are
it
there.
is simply to say, we agree, your money is now yours, handle it yourself.
Handling yourself. It's just that. Instead of me helping me to managing my business, I can manage this business myself. Give me my capital. It is my capital. I'm the one that I'm actually the owner. Just give me my capital. Let me continue it. So why will you be running something that I can run myself? Why will you be running it for me? That means there is something you are gaining there. I used to tell people that if you are not getting something from being as in representing people, you shouldn't want people to die for you to represent them. It doesn't worth it. So if executive arm is not actually gaining something there, they will have released them. Then work stand as the supervisor, which is their role. Supervisory role is their role on all other arms of government when it comes to workers. So let them give them their autonomy. If they are not giving you autonomy, then stay there. They know what it means. So if they give you this autonomy, the only thing I would just say that if this autonomy is being given, then you don't expect them to the budget that has been signed since last year and has been working till now should now be be splitted. You'll be expecting this from the next budget. That is just it. So don't be so rigid that okay, fine. At this point, okay, we want to. Government will not answer you. Even if I'm the one, I will not answer you. But make sure that okay, we've reached the agreement. You've been given the autonomy. Then in the next budget, your money is actually, your finance is actually coming to you straight away. If not, then if you still go back, that means your leaders or whatsoever might have actually compromised again. Then you still go back. After going back, you still come next year, say you want to go on strike, and we are not going to be taking you serious again, because government is not even taking you serious just because they are the one that actually selected your leaders, instead of your leaders to be independently elected. So they have been selected by some set of politicians. So if that is the case, then you don't expect any other thing. You'll just be seeing white and green or blue on white paper, and after that, nothing else.
Right. So let's move over to an issue yesterday that really took over a lot of the news. The issue of the Supreme Court. Even though our elections ended months ago, February 25th, 2023, till now there is still the contention leading up to now the Apex Court. And yesterday, the chairman of the Supreme Court panel during the election, Justice John Okoro, said that the People's Democratic Party candidate Atiku Abubakar must prove the allegation of certificate forgery leveled against the president beyond reasonable doubt. So I'd like to get your thoughts on all of this and how you think this, could turn out and how it could add to Nigeria's jurisprudence.
Well, to me, I see Nigerians are not fool. Are you getting it? We know the right thing. Just that our judicial system that we believe in must prove themselves right. Because we believe they have done better before. They are doing better and they can still do better. If at a point we've seen clearly, quote me right, if at a point we've all seen clearly that this is forgery, there is no reason for the Supreme Court to still be lawyering PDP that okay, you still have to prove more. But if what we are seeing is not even a proof at all, are you getting it? Then they have right, because they know better when it comes to law. Are you getting it? All I know very short is Atiku Abubakar, with what happened in the past. I refer it as past now because it's not actually today. I'm talking about this one also. Talk about the U.S. courts and he had actually went back. He had gone back to United States and requesting for FBI, IRS, and all of that to release some documents so that they will be able to prove their case in the Supreme Court. But I know very sure that with what happened on the case of CU, Chicago University, I think to me, I've not seen any proof also. You need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that this thing is what? Forgery. Because one, CU said he attended our university, he graduated. There's even between he attended and he graduated. If he had actually attended, he might not graduate. Some of us attended one primary school, we did not graduate there. We went for another primary school. But for a school to have said he came to our school, he attended our school, he graduated. And now we are now having, and if you check very well, you see that we have 1971, 72, 73, 74, 75. But when it gets to a particular 70, we did not see. Fine. Are you getting this? So all those things needs to be corrected first. Let's get the picture right so that we will know. Because with what the CU is saying now, that okay, fine, he requested for another one, and since he requested for another one, we cannot actually issue the same thing that we issued in 1979. We issued the one that he requested, the year we issued the certificate that the year that corresponds to when he actually requested for, but bearing the year that he graduated, which actually correspond with what they issued that very year. Fine.
But did the CSU say that, or did they say that they were the particular one that President Tinubu submitted to INEC, that it did not come from them?
For me, I heard that on social media, but I've not actually been able to prove it because I did not see the man saying it directly. And you know, social media.
Yeah, it was a transcript of the deposition anyway. But
so and anything could actually happen. You know what anybody can do when it comes to politics. So that's why I said to Supreme Courts, to our judicial system, they should be able to know better, and they must know better. They can actually see. I'm not saying they should go there, but since we have the same judicial system in the world, are you getting in the whole world? So we can actually confirm anything, confirm it at our disposal. So with this, I think they are just trying to expand the time, to elongate the time. To me, I think, I am not saying it is right, to elongate the time. They know where they are going. Because with this one now, if peradventure there is no other proof from Atiku Abubakar and PDP, that means Tinubu had actually won the case again. So, and there is nothing. And you know Nigerians. Nigerians believe in what people say. They don't believe in what is right. Like the other time when the panel sat for the judgment, you know, they read everything in total. Are you getting it? They read from morning even till night. But yet, people were not satisfied. Why were they reading it? They should just give us the outcome. If they give you the outcome now, you are still the one that will still complain that how did they arrive at that point. So for now, I believe we are still having one of the best judicial system in the whole world. Though people can actually be manipulating anything. Yeah, I know that. But presently, as far as judicial system is concerned in the whole world, we still have one of the best that can be related to. So we should be able to get something better, something right from our judicial system.
Right, that's fair enough. But at the very least, the fact that Justice Okoro said that the matter must be proven beyond reasonable doubt already even implies that it's something that is going to be allowed for argument. Because there were issues that we don't know if the Supreme Court will allow new material or not. But we'll watch and see as that turns.
And that is why I said we can only say little. You see, I was actually trying to caution what my speech. You cannot say much about something that is actually in court. So you have to restrict yourself to something, unlike people that actually want to sell by any means. They want to sell their products. You know, I used to call their page their products. So they want to sell their products anyhow. But in this case, we are journalists and we need to say the right thing.
Yes, we always have to verify before we.
Exactly.
So I think another issue now that is of concern, President Tinubu has assured that the student loans will kick off in January.
Okay.
Initially it was meant to be September with this new cycle, but I guess there wasn't quite enough time to put things in place. Well, I just like your thought. Do you think this is something that will make a difference for, say there's a student out there who doesn't know how to pay their next school fees, who doesn't know how to go to school? Do you see this as a viable option, letting more people access education?
To me, I'm having a mixed feelings concerning the loan, because the stringent conditions could actually discourage a lot of people. Yeah, the conditions are so stringent, and for me, I think when we spoke about it then, President Tinubu said, okay, they are going to review all those things, but I have not seen any report or any news on the review of those requirements, the rules and the rules you have to follow before you could actually get the loan. So if you actually put out the loan and the rules are these requirements are still there, then how many people will be able to? You cannot expect me, because my earning is 500,000 naira a year, that I'll be able to sponsor a single child in university. Do you know how much they pay? If it is 500,000 a year, that means I'm actually getting 50,000 naira per month. Are you getting it? So about 600,000 naira, I'm actually getting about 60,000 naira a month. Yes, 500,000 naira. So if I'm actually getting 50 or 60,000 naira a month with my family in this condition, do you think I'll be able to even survive? Not to talk of sending someone. So if you are now saying, okay, somebody that has such in an account is a rich person, it doesn't make any sense. So I will implore President Tinubu, I will urge him to sit down again, review these conditions, these requirements. If so far you are a student of a particular institution, it is proven that you were given admission, you are still eligible student, then you can actually you have a CGPA. That is those that are still in school. You have a CGPA that is actually encouraging. Then why not? All this requirement doesn't need. We don't need those requirements. That is number one. That is when it will actually work. I will have feelings that no, it will work. At least it will reduce the number of out of school. It will reduce the number of even unemployment. Because another thing is, you want people to get this loan. Have you provided employment opportunities after graduation? If not, then people will not want to, because they believe, like myself, like you, we graduated. Like myself, at least I remember I graduated in the year 2012, 2016, and till now, my salary is not actually complementing what I supposed to be earning. Are you getting it? But even if not for my company that's actually doing this, government is not doing anything. So I still need to applaud and be appreciating the company that could actually hire me and be giving me such huge amount of money. Are you getting it? Because you cannot expect what you don't see, you don't get from your government. So you shouldn't be expecting it from a private individual. That's just a fact, whether we like it or not. But the fact is, if these people that want to be getting loan have the opportunity, have the assurance of, okay, immediately we are graduating, we are getting job. So, like myself, I can actually say, okay, go and get it. At least you get job. There is a way to be deducting that money from your salary. So, but if that is not then another thing is people will not get it. Ordinarily, the loan is a very good scheme. But those requirements restricted a lot of students, a lot of masses, a lot of poor people. How do I get me that I'm actually the first graduate of my family? So how do you expect me to go and get somebody that has been in civil service for years? It doesn't. People will not want to do that, because their name being put them means that they have to trust me, and not having my family. So somebody that is out there will actually trust me. No, it doesn't work. And the person will have another person that is very closer. So for me, I don't think we need all those ones. The only thing is, you'll not be giving yourself. These are things that are very easy. As you are getting this loan, one, you will not be giving your certificate. You only be giving to whom, and that to whom is going to be a special one from the federal government.
Okay.
That, okay, you are still owing. Are you getting it? So, and it has year that it will elapse. So
but what if you need a certificate to get the job that will give you the payment?
that is what we are saying. That's been given. Federal government would have signed it at anywhere in the world. Anywhere. Or your school will be the one. Immediately you want to get a job, they have given you that to whom then, and they requested for your certificate. Your school could actually say, okay, fine, we know him. Then they will send the certificate, like just transcript straight away. They can actually do that. I'm not saying they should, but they can actually do that instead of putting all these stringent, all these requirements that cannot be met. Another thing is, we cannot leave Nigeria. Even if we leave Nigeria, we have our documents with you. So somebody that had collected this loan, that might have actually collected this loan, will be monitored very well. Whatsoever you want to do, internationally you want to do anything, it will actually be written there that you are having a loan. Are you getting it? So it's as simple as that. Most of institutions now verify every certificate that you give to them. So if they're actually verifying and they say that, okay, you are still indebted to federal government. So federal government has stated it there that we need to be deducting these things. So they will. But all those ones, I'm not seeing it that it will actually reduce anything at all unless we remove all those requirements. The requirements are so much.
Right. Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming. It's been a pleasure having you and getting to hear your thoughts on these national issues. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll leave you now with some reports to continue to catch you up to speed, but that's where we draw the curtains onto the program, pardon me. Do join us every weekday. The Polity reaches you live from Abuja, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. See you tomorrow. Bye for now. I'll leave you with some reports now. I am Amadin, Ogbewe.